Medfield TV presents Meet the Candidates interviews with our citizens running for local offices. This series is being brought to you by the joint efforts of Carol Mayer, Town Clerk, Perry Oasis, Medfield High School Social Studies teacher, and Rachel Falurulo of Medfield TV. I'm Connor Adams from Medfield High School. I will be posing questions to the candidate. You will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. At the end of the questioning period, the candidate will have 2 additional minutes to address the TV audience. Today we're interviewing Philip Tuths. He's a candidate running for the office of Library Trustee. This position is for a 3-year term. There are 2 positions open. He's running unopposed. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah.
Your first question is, if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask, where or how can they contact you?
Well, you can always email me at phil.tuths, that's phil.tuths@verizon.net. And I'm also active on Twitter and Instagram at Phil Tuths, and you're welcome to direct message me on either one of those platforms.
Perfect. How do you plan to keep up with emerging technology and its costs?
Well, technology is always a challenge, and I have a background in photography and currently very involved with digital photography. Formerly, I had done analog photography, darkroom, and I successfully made a change from analog to digital. My wife's been employed at MIT for over 30 years, and I also taught photography at MIT. So I'm fairly familiar with technology, and I try to stay as up to date as I possibly can. I would also work with the library staff and the rest of the. I'm always on digital platforms to learn as much as I can.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do you have any new ideas to appeal to young people or senior citizens?
Getting young people involved in the library, I think, is always a challenge because there are so many distractions nowadays with gaming, cell phones, YouTube, and I think programs that can draw any of the young people in for any reason to the library, where they can get exposed to the joy of reading the printed word on the page is important. But maybe I think programming that involves some of the new technologies that would bring young people in would be helpful. For seniors, I think that having programs that will help them to also learn about technology, computer classes would be useful. I've got an in-law that is an elderly person that doesn't have a computer at home, doesn't have access to email, and it's really sad that they don't have an opportunity to get photos from their grandchildren. I think having a forum where people could go in, maybe work with young people who are knowledgeable, to have them teach them about computers would be something that would be worth pursuing, and it would be a service to the community also.
Sounds like a great idea. What would you say are your biggest goals? Well, my biggest personal goal, I always feel, is to learn something new every day. And I would sort of follow that up with that being the goal of the library, is to help people gather knowledge and become more knowledgeable every day, and no matter what that is, whether it's through reading, through technology. I think a well-educated population in the country is really the basis of the democracy we have. One thing about the library is you don't have to worry about Russian bots going in to plant false stories, in there. So it's a place where you can get real knowledge. Well said. Do you think there's adequate study space in the library?
The library space is limited right now. I think it's adequate. I don't know if it'll meet the needs of the future population in town. When the library was expanded upon, I don't know if it was 10 or 15 years ago, there was a choice made to keep the library in an in-town location, to maintain the historic building, and I think that was a good choice. I think that the library right now is part of like a sort of a very vibrant downtown that we have. And I like to think of the library as really kind of part of the heart and soul of Medfield, along with the Zullo Gallery, and you know, the concerts that we have during the summer. And it's great to have that in town. But the limitations are is that there isn't room for expansion. In the future, we might be looking at other places in town for possibly a satellite location for the library, maybe up at the State Hospital. And I think exploring possibilities like that would be useful.
That's a very interesting point. Now, the bottom floor of the library is both a teen space and a location for public computers, which sometimes causes difficulty for those who would like to use the computers in quiet space. How can you balance this space so that students can study in groups and there's also a quiet space for people to use the computers?
I mean, that's a real challenge. You know, once again, the space in the library is limited right now. It's great to have a teen space. I actually was down there just a couple of days ago to check it out. And there are acoustic tiles on the wall in the teen space, you know, to sort of deaden the sound. The computer section is located in an area where it's supervised by one of the library staff. I think it's a good location. During the school days, obviously, noise from teens is not a problem. So people who really are concerned could go during the daytime. If you're working and you go in the evening, that does present more challenges. I'm not sure that they can be separated. Maybe they might be able to think of something like headphones to offer to people that are concerned about a noise level, so that they could put their headphones on, plug in, and sort of have the noise canceled out. That's
a very interesting idea. Now, would you please take a few moments to speak to the audience? You have up to 2 minutes to respond.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me here on Valentine's Day.
It's a pleasure.
And you know, besides my wife and my family, who I love dearly, I love the Medfield Library, which is why I'm really taking this opportunity to get involved with the library and to make sure that it really serves the needs of the town. You know, I grew up on Long Island, and my mom, one of my childhood memories is my mom taking me to the library every Saturday, and we'd both leave with a stack of books. I'd read the Hardy Boys, and I loved Sherlock Holmes, and I still love Sherlock Holmes now. And then I've been in town for about 25 years. I've got 3 grown sons that all went through the Medfield school system, and my wife and I took them to the library, story time. We did storytelling with Kurt. We did drumming groups there, and now I take my granddaughter to the library. And it's just a great place. The staff is warm and open to people. They're very knowledgeable, very professional. The library is part of the Minuteman system, which means that you can log on and you have access to libraries all throughout the metropolitan area. And you know, I use it myself for professional knowledge. I've gotten my music from there, videos from there. I've even taken out a metal detector to try to see if I could find some treasure in my backyard, which I was not able to do.
Oh, that's too bad.
But my goal is to work with the library staff, and who are great, and to develop programs that will continue to serve the needs of the community. And I hope to be able to do that, and I hope people will vote for me on Election Day.
I wish to thank the candidate for participating in this interview. Hopefully he'll find some treasure in his backyard. Please remember that democracy is not a spectator sport. Please vote at the Center on Icehouse Road on Monday, March 25th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you.
Thanks. And become more knowledgeable every day, and no matter what that is, whether it's through reading, through technology. You know, I think a well-educated population in the country is really the basis of the democracy we have. One thing about the library is you don't have to worry about Russian bots going in to plant false stories, you know, in there. So it's a place where you can get real knowledge.